Hey guys, sorry, I just had to sit. I just got done playing outside where I played a lot and I talked a lot and I walked a lot and I even hunted for little creatures. Oh, it was so fun. I just did a lot. Wait, hunted, played, walked, talked. All of those things happened in the past. That reminds me. Oh yeah, I get to teach you about suffix ed today. Have you guys heard about suffix ed? Oh, well, I'm so excited to teach you. So suffix ed is actually, I guess I should tell you what a suffix is. So a suffix is what I add to an end of the word. And they're like little things. So suffix, you add it to the end of the word and it changes the whole word. You guys have actually heard of suffix s. So if I have this word, dog, and I add the suffix s, dogs, it made it mean more than one. Well, today I'm going to teach you about suffix ed. And I do that dash because it always comes at the end. And suffix ed, we say vowel suffix ed because it starts with a vowel. So vowel suffix ed says it makes three sounds. Three sounds. And I'm going to tell you that in a second. But then vowel suffix ed means past tense. It means it already happened. Remember when I was just listing? I walked, I talked, I hunted. Those things already happened. They happened in the past. So when I say past tense, that means it's already done with, already did it. So anytime something has already happened, there's going to be an ed at the end. So walked, talked, and we'll talk about that because I don't necessarily hear ed, which brings me to the point that it makes three sounds. I know. And guess what? Not one of those sounds is ed. You're never going to read ed if you see suffix ed. Crazy crackers. But one of the sounds you're going to say is id, id. Ed can say id. It can also say t, t. What in the world? Suffix ed can say t. And suffix ed says d. Now you might be saying, phonics queen, how do I know how to read it? Do I say id? Do I say t? Do I say d? Well, let me tell you, there's rules. So if you see ed in the word, you have to think, okay, what is on my base word? Now the base word is what I'm adding to. So when I have this word, dogs, this dog is my base word because I can cover up this suffix and I still have a real word. So that's what we're going to focus on for today. If I have a word that ends with a T or D, so let's do the word melt, okay? It ends with a T. But if it has melted or ed, the ed says id because my base word ends with a T. So you always take off your ed and you look at your base word. My base word ends with a T, therefore it's going to say id. So melt id. Let's do another word to practice with. Okay, so I see this word. I'm going to take off my suffix. My base word is land. Land. Oh, I see a D. So my ed is going to say id. Land id. I landed the plane. So that is when ed says id. Now sometimes ed is going to say t, t. Can you guys make that noise? T. Now I want you to put your hand right here and then say the noise. T, t. Do you feel anything? No. That means it's unvoiced. We say motor is off. Your motor is off. There's no motor. So if I have a base word that their last sound, the motor is off, then ed says t, because once the motor is off, it stays off like a car. You can't make a car start like just randomly. The motor's off, it stays off. So here's an example. So remember, what I can do is I can take off that suffix ed because that's my real word. That's my base word. I look at the last sound. So if I tap this, it'd be sh. Or make that last sound and touch your throat. Shh. Do you feel anything? Shh. No. So that ED is going to say t, crushed, crushed. But do you see how I didn't put a T? It still has to be ED because it tells me it's past tense. I'm going to try to show you one more. This way. Okay, I see an ED, so my first step is to cover it. And I'm going to read my word. Oh, what do I see? I see a glued sound. So it's going, yeah, ache. Yeah, ache. Oh, the last sound was a k, k, k. Do you feel anything? No. So ED says t, yanked, yanked. I hear it, but it's spelled ED. You have to remember that. If anything is past tense, even if I hear a T, please write ED because it's past tense. All right, here's my last sound. Sometimes suffix ED makes the D sound. And that, can you make the D sound and put your hand to your throat? D. Oh, I feel something. D. My motor is on. There is a motor. So just like we did for T, now we actually want to find D. The motor is on, so it stays on. D, D. So if I did this word, I see an ED. I don't know exactly how it's going to sound, so I'm going to cover it up. Read my base word. Oh, do you see how my base word follows the floss rule? Because remember, I take off a suffix. It's got to be a real word by itself. So let's tap that word. Fill. Ooh, I feel it. Ooh, do you feel vibration? So my ED is going to say D. Filled. Nice. And then let's do one more. Here's this word. I see an ED. Let's cover it up. What's my base word? Spell. Ooh, I feel it. So it says spelled. So if you have the motors on your base word, on the last sound, we're always looking at that last sound before the ED, then the motor's on, it's gonna stay on. I wanna show you this too. We're gonna practice. That is a long word. Oh, you can't even see my long word. There you go, long word. So what you can do when you get to a long word like this, I box my suffix because guys, I can take it off. It's still a real word. So take off my suffix. And then what do I notice? I can decode. Shop. Behind my vowel, it's closed. So that's going to say hap. Behind my vowel, it's closed. So that's going to say pen. Happen. Everybody go like this. Happen. My last sound. My motor is on. So my ED says D. Happened. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for joining me. We're going to do my card one more time. I want to teach you how to do this card. It is vowel suffix ED. Can you repeat after me? Vowel suffix ED says id, t, and d. Says id, t, and d. And it means past tense. And it means past tense. It already happened. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy suffix ED. It's so confusing sometimes, but you can do it. I promise. Just remember past tense. And anytime, this is the biggest thing, focus, focus, focus. Anytime something happens in the past, you're going to add ED. Even if you hear a t and a d and an id. Remember, it's ED making those noise. Ah! All right, guys, go get some work done.